Alright, so everything we keep talking about, like how circular reason, everything is constantly changing in school and science and everything like that. That's why everything is called a theory, just like you have a theory. But that theory is being tested by other people constantly through science and everything else that we're learning here. So why is it that you can't accept that people have been finding newer and newer answers to the things that you believe that God did? I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Christian. I'm nothing. I don't have a belief system.
Everybody has a belief system.
I believe in what I do is good. I don't believe in doing bad things. I don't do bad things.
You've never done a bad thing?
I try as hard as I can not to.
But the question is, have you ever done a bad thing?
Very little compared to many other people.
But I'm asking about you.
I don't believe that I'm going to go to a bad place for any bad things that I've done. I believe that I'm going to go wherever I go. That's what happens. I don't know, no one really knows what happens exactly.
So let me ask you this. Because we're talking about belief systems, and so since you don't claim a worldview, but I mean, I think we all have belief systems. I mean, as I ask you questions, I'm pretty sure I can get the beliefs out of you. Well, the more questions I ask,
yes.
I mean, that's fair to say, right?
Do you believe that your God, compared to any other God, has created everything the way it is?
But you don't believe in a God, though.
I don't. But I'm asking you a question.
But it would be irrelevant to your worldview to even want that knowledge, correct?
Oh, it's not, because I want to understand how other people think. So, by understanding how you think, I can understand how other people think that follow your same religion. And I ask the same questions to other people of the same other religions.
So what's your question?
I want to know, do you believe that your God has done everything and that the other gods that other people believe and other faiths have done nothing? I mean, in my opinion,
Jesus died. I mean, to answer your question, Jesus, God did something. He came down to earth and died for our sins and rose again the third day to save man from their sins. But here's the key thing: to reconcile man to God. That's what happened in the garden. Adam and Eve, you're familiar with the Bible. You got the story of Adam and Eve, first man and first woman, and they only had one law they had to keep. It was not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It wasn't because God was just trying to throw that there just to lord over them, but the tree was there to show how much they would love God. Because by loving God, you would obey Him.
Okay.
And that's what we consider love. Love is faithfulness.
Okay.
So if God, who is all-knowing in that sense, told them to eat from this tree would be bad for you because it's the knowledge of good and evil. I don't want you to have evil. Right now you have good. Okay. Why would you want evil?
Yeah.
So they wanted evil.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't good for them. So it wasn't God trying to withhold them from something that would be good for them. Yeah. The fact that it was evil showed it was bad. Yeah. So the idea is man's relationship with God was broken. Now, ever since that happened, man has been at odds with God all throughout all dispensations of time. And so the key factor was God was wanting man to be reconciled to Him. And He started that off by choosing the nation of Israel to do it, to draw all Gentiles, which are non-Israelites, to God. They failed miserably in the Old Testament. They were trying to worship the same gods the Gentiles were worshiping. Okay. So they failed miserably. So what did God keep doing? He kept sending prophets out to rebuke His own people, to come back to Him. And then what happens? You travel, and the historical timeline keeps repeating in the Old Testament. The Jews keep going back to idolatry and serving other gods, and then you get right there to that 400 silent years, and then now finally God speaks, but it's more than spoken words. He sends Jesus Christ at the appointed time that He wanted to appoint Him to come to earth and then die for the sins of the whole world, for not only for our sins, but to have that reconciliation. That's why I had explained to you about Adam and Eve, but to join man and God together again in eternal fellowship.
Yep. Okay, so I have a question for you. So why is it that you don't believe in, say, Greek gods who did the same thing, where people were prophets of them?
Because they're proven to be mythology. They're proven to be mythology.
Okay, so if your beliefs are proven to be mythology.
They're not proven to be mythology.
Okay, so you can't prove that the other things were.
Well, they are, because they're called Greek. It's called Greek mythology.
I understand, but not necessarily all the mythologies. They believe in a system of gods, just like you do.
they agree. I'm not saying that people can't worship something that they think they believe is true. I'm not saying that possible. That phenomenon happens all the time.
Yep.
And a lot of times people will correct them if they're wrong about something. Somebody worshiping a tree or an animal or specific tree or specific animal. But what I'm saying is that in the Bible, God is the necessary precondition for truth, intelligibility, logic, and reasoning. And the justification for that is the Bible itself, because God says in the Bible, he reveals himself that way to humanity.
Okay.
Now, no other gods do that. But if you don't know what truth is, then there's no.
Well, the truth, I do know what truth is.
What
I
is
know
truth?
what truth is by tested and proven theories which people have, and those things have even been added to and
But
changed
truth
over
you know
time.
through your reasoning, correct?
Well, truth I have learned.
But when you learn, you have to use your reasoning,
proof.
correct?
Proof.
But when you're judging proof, you have to use your reasoning, correct?
Well, yes.
So
But
everything you
as-
just said, you have to employ your reasoning.
Yeah.
And I'm asking to validate
because
your reasoning.
for reasoning, I have seen given proof that these things work. Okay, that's without an act
But
of
you have to
God.
use your
That's how
reasoning.
they use. That's
But
how.
when
they
you're looking
work.
at if the proof works, you have to use your reasoning to judge if it works.
Correct, and that
So how do you validate your reasoning? Because
the reasoning.
you
is
could have
that
invalid reasoning, correct?
The reasoning is that and exactly that's my point. You can have invalid reasoning as well.
No,
That's
but
why.
you
That's
couldn't
why.
say that if you have no
That's why
preconditions.
mathematics and sciences.
It's all right.
I didn't want to
why.
hit her.
I know that was purposeful. I'll just.
That's
Have a
why
good one. Take care.
mathematics and science are based off of theories, which are constantly being changed. Okay, and people have been adding to them and changing them and
Constantly
correcting
using
them.
your reasoning, right?
And then there's also laws, which are proven to work every time the way
Proven
that they
by
work.
how?
By testing.
By testing, but you got to use your reasoning when looking at the testing. And I'm asking you to validate your
well,
reasoning, and you're not doing so. You're
The
using
val-
your
I'm,
reasoning.
I'm
You're using your
validating
reasoning
it by proof of testing.
by using your reasoning to judge the
Well,
testing.
yeah, that's how everything works.
So you
You're-
justify your
you're-
reasoning with your
you're-
reasoning. That's my point. You're left to
No.
absurdity in your
Because
worldview.
I can take something and I can read it that I have no knowledge about.
But when you read something, you're
is-
employing your reasoning.
Well, not necessarily. You're
When
learning.
you read
you're
something,
learning.
you're not employing your reasoning, coming to logical
You're learning.
conclusions.
You're learning.
But when you're learning, you're coming to logical conclusions. That's your reasoning.
There's other people who have reasoned that and proven it through
But when
scientific
you judge their
experiments.
reasoning, you have to employ your own.
Well, you do, and that's why
That's my point.
science
So
is the same thing.
you're
That's
stuck.
why science is a theory,
Stuck.
and there are laws in science, and those laws are proven to be true.
But how do you get out of the hamster
constantly
wheel?
and constantly and constantly?
You're not out of the hamster wheel.
I am because I'm telling you that these things have been proven, which none of what you
So you're
believe
telling
in,
me that it's okay to justify your reasoning with your reasoning, to prove your reasoning with your reasoning. And that's valid in your world.
no, it's not.
You just said it is.
I'm not. You're just putting those words in my mouth. I'm saying that by learning and trying and testing, you can learn and
You're
understand
using your
how
reasoning
things
when learning,
work.
trying, and testing. You're using your reasoning.
So
could you be wrong about
there are
everything you claim to
people-
know?
I could be. I could be completely wrong, you know, and someday I may.
I'm going to repeat
find
it
that
one more
out.
time because I want to give you. I don't want to trick you in anything.
I'm saying I could.
Could you be wrong? I'm going to repeat it again. Think about it very carefully
I
before you answer.
just said that I could be wrong.
Could you be wrong about everything you claim to know? See, I told you to think about it.
I don't know. Maybe I could be. Maybe one day I'll figure out that I am wrong. And
But-
just like I'm saying,
You can't be at a
is
university saying that.
Just like I'm saying, no, I can't be because
You
that's the
can't.
way that it works at university.
Revelation from God is necessary for knowledge. Without all knowledge, something you don't know would contradict something you do know. So, would you agree that you would have to know all things in order to know something to be absolutely true? Would you have to know all things? Because
Yes,
something
but
you
that's
don't
why-
know,
That's why I'm.
because something you
that's
don't know
why
could
I'm learning
contradict.
about it. That's why I'm learning.
But you
in
can never
here
know
in school.
anything.
I could.
Even if you
because
learn something, you couldn't
as,
know it.
As a student in what I'm majoring in, I am learning all aspects of the
but
major.
you could be wrong about learning.
You're right, and there's things that have
And
come
so you've
out.
given up on
there.
knowledge.
I haven't, because the reason why a theory is because we haven't accepted that as the absolute truth.
That absolutely true.
It is. Most theories that we believe in are.
You're trying to refute absolute truth with absolute truth. It's ridiculous.
I'm
It's
not.
contradictory.
I'm not.
dude.
I'm saying that as
You
as
can't have a logical discussion if somebody can't acknowledge absolute truth. Because they're going to affirm absolute
there
truth
is
when
no
they
such
talk.
thing as an absolute truth. There isn't.
Is that absolutely true? You don't live your life that way, dude. You're contradicting yourself. You're not logical
You're
right now.
contradicting yourself as well. See,
I'm not.
saying,
Is it absolutely true? I'm contradicting myself. But you don't know what truth is because you don't know what reality is, and you're making an absolute knowledge.
Okay, so
claim.
what is truth? What is
Truth
truth?
conforms to the mind of God.
Is that? Can you prove that to me?
God is a necessary precondition.
Can you
I don't have to
prove that to
prove.
me?
I don't have to prove anything to somebody that
Okay.
already knows.
Okay.
You already know that God is
So-
a necessary precondition.
So I'm still asking you, can you prove that to me?
Yes,
Because
every
as of
time
right
you open
now,
up your mouth, you're
you
proving it.
haven't.
Every
You
time you
haven't.
open up your
You
mouth.
haven't.
So you employ your reasoning when you're judging what your senses are telling you by picking something up, your eyesight. And I'm asking you, you have to employ your reasoning. And you say yes.
Yeah,
So then employ your
but you have to
reasoning.
employ your
Now I'm asking you
reasoning
to
as well.
justify your reasoning. And you can't do it
I literally have justified it over and over and
by
over
using your
again.
reasoning.
That's the way that things work, and you reason to.
So you agree it's okay to justify a reason with your reason, logical fallacy. It's okay.
but
yet
you
you want
don't.
to appeal to logic. You want
So
to see
you're able
rationality.
to justify by using your reasoning as well, just like
No,
you
it
believe-
doesn't apply to me. What's
Why
going
not?
on with you?
Why? But you believe.
God reveals things to me in such a way I can know them for certain. You can't prove the impossibility, and I asked you to do so. You never did. So I have a possible avenue of certainty, whereas you have none. You have an impossibility, but yet every day you're going to assume things to be true. You're going to assume logic. You're going to assume reasoning. You're going to assume rationality. You're going to be appealing to my God the whole time while you deny Him.
I'm not. I personally
So
am not.
every time you
You-
have the successful feature of
So
logic and reasoning,
why-
it's not because your worldview is true. It's because my worldview is true.
It's not. That's
Absolutely.
what you believe.
Absolutely.
And I believe
And
in
you
a
have no
different
basis
thing.
to argue
And
because-
you have no basis to argue your
Yes, I
thing
do.
because
I have an
you-
avenue to certainty. You have none.
You don't have an avenue to
I
certainty
do.
because you're saying that
You've
you
never
can't
given me
prove,
the possibility.
You can't prove your God being.
I already did. You're making a knowledge
How?
claim right
How-
now.
How have you proven that?
Every time you
you
make a
say
knowledge claim, you're appealing to my God.
I
Look, I ask you, how do you know it? And you can't know it. Every time I challenge any knowledge claim, you can't know it.
can because I have learned
Okay,
it.
how do you know it? Through your reasoning? And then you justify your reasoning with your reasoning? So if somebody else comes along and justifies their reasoning with their reasoning, how do you and him differentiate what's true and false? You don't.
You do.
Because you're stuck in your little hamster wheel of your own reasoning.
When you're in the same hamster
I'm
wheel,
not.
you're reasoning it
I'm
by
not.
saying that God
You
does
did
it.
not prove it's impossible to Christian God to reveal things
You
to me
haven't
in such a
proven it
way.
for. You haven't.
I've already proven
anything.
my case with you. You
You're-
can't know
you're-
anything to be true.
You can't either, though.
You've given up on knowledge, dude.
No, I haven't.
You
Because
have.
I
Could you be
haven't.
wrong about everything you claim to know?
I
You've given up on knowledge when you say yes.
I have not. I don't know that everything
Okay, so
is
you
certain.
do
And
know.
I don't know
So
that
you
everything
do know
is
things
certain.
for certain.
There are things that I do know for certain.
Okay, name one thing you know for certain.
You just keep saying the same thing over again.
'Cause I'm
and not
proving to you you're
answering
inconsistent.
You're not answering my questions.
Because you don't know
You're
anything to be
just-
true.
You're just using
You can't
the
answer
hamster
somebody's questions
You're
if they don't
using
know
the
anything
same
to be
hamster
true.
wheel to argue with me about what I believe in. And
You
don't
can't
believe-
argue with somebody that can't know anything, so I'm being consistent with your
I
worldview.
know a lot of things. Like
I'm going to do it again. What do you know and how do you know it? And I'm going to bring you right back to your reasoning, and you're going to justify your reasoning with your reasoning again, just like you always do, and you're going to be stuck in your hamster wheel again. I'm telling you, every day you appeal to God. So when I ask you, what do you know and how do you know it? You should say, I can know this grass is here, a leaf is here, a tree is there, because God reveals it to me. That's the correct answer, but you don't want to submit to
that's
God.
ridiculous.
Because you're left in circular reasoning,
No,
dude.
I'm-
You can't get
I'm
out.
not.
Would you be wrong about what you just said?
I can't be no because I am the
You
person
just said
who
you
I
could
believe.
be wrong about everything. See, I'm showing you your inconsistency in everything
Okay,
you're saying
and I
right
was
now.
inconsistent right there. But what I'm saying is that what I've learned is what I believe, just like you believe what you have learned.
Everybody knows God. Everybody innately knows God. You can disagree, but you have no basis to disagree because you don't know what truth is.
You don't know what truth is either.
You can't say that. I have an avenue to certainty.
Okay, so then why are you saying that I don't know?
You
what
have no
truth
avenue
is?
to certainty.
I have an avenue to certainty that
Where's your avenue to
I'm
certainty?
learning. I'm learning
You're
about
learning.
these things.
So learning is your avenue to certainty?
Yes, just like the Earth is flat.
So how do you know it's something that you believe is
The
true?
earth is flat.
Just like the Earth is not flat. The Earth
Well, how do you know
was
that?
believed to
We're
be
gonna
flat.
gotta use your sense.
Because I have a boat and I've gone around the world.
But you got to use your senses when you're in your boat going around the world. You're looking at the experience using your reasoning. So you're justifying your reasoning with your reasoning, even when you go around the world to try to judge whether it's flat or whether it's circular.
I literally.
You justify your reason
There's
with your
people.
reason.
Yes, because I
Give it
believe
up.
in what I believe. Yes,
Give it up. Acknowledge that you have invalid reasoning right now,
I don't have invalid
according to your
reasoning.
worldview. But according to my worldview, you have valid reasoning. According to your worldview, you have invalid. Because you can't hold to your worldview right now. Did you see you hear what you just said? You said Jesus Christ. You know why you said that?
Yeah, because I
Because
say
you have
that as
innate
things.
knowledge of Jesus Christ within you. and you're just backing up. I'm glad you said that. You used his name in vain and you blaspheme his name. And that's what people do when they hold God in unrighteousness. They blaspheme his name. They blaspheme the name of God. And that's what you're doing. And you're appealing to him every time you even do that. And I'm telling you, you have no basis for epistemology, for logic, for reasoning, for truth without God, but yet you use it every day. And you see its successful features, but you don't want to give God the glory for the truth, the logic, the knowledge, and the reasoning he's giving.
I don't see.
Are there people in the world that have invalid reasoning, that are in funny farms, people that are born without brains, that can't come to logical conclusions correctly? Does that phenomenon exist?
Yes, there is.
So how do you know you're not one of those people? You would have to have valid reasoning to know you're not one of those people. Oh, so you're telling me you have to ask somebody else if you have a mental disorder?
That's because if I
that's problematic.
That's again.
I don't need to ask her if I have valid reasoning, dude. But you do.
That's
problematic.
That's verifying.
But you have to use your reasoning when understanding.
Verifying my conclusion.
You have to use your reasoning when discerning what she's saying.
Okay, I'm gonna get.
So you don't know you're not one of those people, even when asking her. Because you have to use your reasoning when determining what she's saying.
Do you think that I expect to meet other than my cousin?
Oh boy.
You know, ad hominem attacks don't go well in a logical discussion. I'm not calling you names.
I'm not.
I'm just saying, how do you know your reasoning is valid right now? You don't.
Okay, so if I go around and ask everybody proof, I go to a doctor, I get proof that I'm not.
You have to use your reasoning when dealing with what a doctor said. You still have to employ your own
doctor has
reasoning.
learned everything that he knows from
I'm
a
saying
book.
you have
He
to
didn't learn it from a
interpret what he
Bible.
said.
Did he learn what he has learned from a Bible? Did God give
Did
him
you
the
learn it?
knowledge about
Did
that?
you learn
No,
it?
he went through and learned about that stuff
You're not out of the loop, dude. You still got to use your own reasoning.
I'm
when dealing with what everybody
100%
else says.
out of you're in a loop.
So how do you know you're not one of those people?
Because I'm
You got to ask other people.
verifiably.
But you got to use your reasoning when dealing
I
with
know
it.
for a
So you
fact
justify
that
your reasoning with your reasoning.
I know
as
that
I just told you.
I know that I'm not.
You're a hamster
but
running
again,
in the wheel.
I'm proving to you, just like you would ask me
You're
how
not proven nothing. You prove that you justify your reasoning with your reasoning, and therefore I know you don't live your life that way. You live your life in my worldview. You know things to be true, and you appeal to God every day.
I don't.
But you know what? Whenever we go on your worldview, here we go right back into logical fallacy of vicious circular reasoning again. You justify your reasoning with your reasoning. You go to a scientist, and you got to use your reasoning and dealing with what a scientist says.
Is based off of what I know, and also by justifying it, but by what other people know.
Exactly. So you agree. Justify your reasoning with your reasoning.
So you can't. Your circular reasoning is also the same thing.
It's not.
Because you
can't say that.
have not proven to me that there is a God out there.
I've already proven it.
You're just saying that you believe
You
in
made
that.
another.
You
Is
believe
it
that.
true? I didn't prove it.
Yes.
But you don't know what truth is.
You haven't
What is
proven
truth?
it to me to
Does
change
truth
my
correspond to
belief.
reality?
You haven't proven me wrong to change my belief, and until you prove
I
me
have.
wrong,
I already did. You made another knowledge claim that you can't account for. See, and you use Jesus again, which you have innate knowledge of Jesus Christ, and nobody has an excuse to deny him, and that's my point. So you need to repent. The world, you get out of that worldview. It's died, dude. It's died. It's a cry for help. You need to run to Jesus, like Jonah told the Ninevites. Run to God. Repent.
if anybody